Welcome. We're learning about the chemistry of life. What are the building blocks of organisms? And today we're going to start with Waterworks, which is on page 20 in your textbook. Okay, so what are phospholipids? We've learned that cells are surrounded by a cell membrane. The cell membrane helps protect the cell and keeps the internal conditions of the cell stable. A lipid that contains phosphorus is called a phospholipid. Phospholipids form much of the cell membrane. The head of a phospholipid molecule is attracted to water. The phospholipid molecule's tail repels water or pushes it away. Because there's water inside and outside of the cell, the phospholipids form a double layer. One layer lines up so that the heads face the outside of the cell. Second layer of phospholipids line up so that the heads face the inside of the cell. The tails from both layers face each other, forming the middle of the cell membrane. Molecules such as water are regulated into and out of the cell through the cell membrane. Your turn for active reading. Describe how phospholipids form a barrier between water inside the cell and water outside the cell. Go.
Wow, why is water important?
Excellent question. Many cell processes require water, which makes up nearly 2/3 of the mass of the cell. Thus, water is a very important nutrient for life. Water moves through the cell membrane by a process called osmosis. Osmosis depends on the concentration of water inside and outside of the cell. Pure water has the highest concentration of water molecules. If the water concentration inside the cell is lower than the water concentration outside the cell, then water will move into the cell. If the environment outside a cell has a low concentration of water, such as in a salty solution, water will move out of the cell. Losing too much water can cause a cell to shrivel up and die. If too much water enters a cell, it may swell up and burst. The right balance of water allows the cell to function normally. This graphic shows gates that control the people who enter and exit a sports stadium. Apply. How do these gates function in a similar way to the cell membrane? Okay, can you answer these questions? What is a cell membrane made of?
Phospholipids.
Good boy, Leone, but they're supposed to figure that out on their own. Okie dokie. Next question. How are phospholipids structured to form two layers in the cell membrane? Hint, like two certain creatures on screen. Phospholipids have a head and they also have a tail. Considering that lipids have parts that attract and other parts that repel water, why do you think that phospholipids would make good cell membranes? Waterworks. Why is water important to cells? Look back at your text and be able to find passages that explain why water is so vital to cell functions. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you finish the lesson review and join me next time for lesson 3, cell structure and function. Hasta la vista.